Hey guys, so these are the top 3 things that I think you need to do to prepare for the coming recession. And we're talking about global recession here. I've predicted it to be in sort of the middle of May, June of 2021. And the reason I've done that is because I think Trump is going to do everything in his power to make sure that he fends off and gets another term. And once he gets another term, I think then it'll be just too hard for him to continue, and then that correction will inevitably happen. But I reckon he'll get 6 months grace before the markets just go, enough is enough. You're an idiot. So top 3 things. So first of all, I think you have to do a portfolio review. So number 1 is do a portfolio review. Okay. And what do I mean by that? I mean, you have to look at all your assets. You have to look at all your expenses. You have to look at all your incoming, outgoings, and do a real picture for that. But part of that review is you then need to, once you get that data in a spreadsheet preferably, then you need to run some numbers against that. So you need to go, what happens if interest rates go, say, increase 3%? And I don't think they're going to increase more than 3%. So whatever you're paying now, add 3% to it. Even if you're on a fixed rate, just add 3% to it, okay? And I think the other scenario you've got to do is, what happens if I lose my job, for 3 months, okay, and then I get a new job at 70% of my old job, okay? So run that scenario. These are scenarios that we run regularly with our things during these reviews. And if you're not sure about this, give the team a call and they can run you through the numbers and get that all set up. And we've got the spreadsheets already formatted that can allow you to do this. So first thing is, you need to do a portfolio review, okay? Now, what you need to do also is be getting rid of as much consumer debt as possible, and the focus on that, okay, and look, if you haven't got the debt, then you can skip this one. Fantastic, you're in a much better position. But then maybe you look at your mortgage situation and just work out whether there's any remortgaging to be done that can get you down to a lower rate, okay, and potentially take out some extra income depending on how you're doing it. Sorry, extra capital, which can create a buffer, so you've got a cash buffer. Now, bottom line is, so if you've got debt, you need to focus on paying back the highest interest debt first. Is effectively the best way to do. So look at all, and the way to do that is quite simple. Look at all your minimum payments across all the debts, okay, including mortgage debt, all the repayments that you've got to do, and then work out the minimum monthly payments on those, okay? Anything discretionary that you've got left over, apply that, not across the board, but to one. So focused payments, we call this. So, get into a focused payment discipline around your debts, because when you do that, you'll find that actually you can pay off individual debts really quickly. Now, inherent upon this, if you're going to pay off debt, you've got to make sure you're not creating new debt. Now, sometimes that means you've got to take a lifestyle check, because a lot of people are surviving on credit, and as long as the credit keeps increasing, then they're okay. They can maintain the lifestyle. But my suggestion would be is that if you are doing that and if you're living like that, you change your ways, you change your lifestyle now. Because when the global recession comes, credit is going to get tighter and you're not going to be able to expand that credit. And really, you don't want to. At some point, if you're going to be serious about creating wealth, if you're going to be serious about getting control of your finances, you have to take a lifestyle check back to where you're actually not just spending everything you earn, but where you're saving and then spending, okay? So you've got to pay yourself first. I'm sure you've heard that principle before. You have to get to the point where you're paying yourself first. So, that's number 2. So number 1, pretty simply, do a portfolio review. So look at what you've got, okay? Number 2 is get rid of your debts. Pay down some of your debts so you're in a much better cash flow position if you were to lose your job, if you were to, if interest rates, go up and these sort of things. Look, the reality is in a recession that's coming, it's more likely that you're going to have interest rates going down than necessarily going up, but they can go either way. So we're going to have an inflationary or deflationary recession. And to be fair, it's 50-50 which way we go and how they deal with this. The challenge I do have is the instrument which they normally use, which is dropping interest rates to stimulate the economy in a recession, is not really available to us because interest rates are so low. So what does that mean? That pretty much means that we're screwed from that perspective. in addition to that, they've been dumping money, billions, into the economy already, which is another instrument that they use, print more money. So, we're running out of options, okay? And, I mean, that's a real worry. So, number one, portfolio review. Number two, pay down some of your debt. Number three is, okay, and this may be sort of more, not confrontational, but it's a bit sort of, I don't know. Look, bottom line, what it is look at your income, how you're earning your income, how you're living your life, how you actually, your life comes together, and disrupt it, okay? And what do I mean by disrupting your life? What I mean is looking at stuff and thinking, really, do we need to spend this? I mean, I did a review personally, and I found the amount of money that we were spending in our household was almost ridiculous on amazing things, such as, we've got 2 club memberships. One of the club memberships we hardly ever use, and yet we're getting charged every month, and it was about $300 a month, Singapore, and we'd hardly use it. So basically, we got rid of it. We just weren't using it. So have a look at how you can trim back your expenses. Have a look how you make things easy, because I'll tell you this. The one thing, as I read a lot of books, and I think anyone who reads a lot of books right now, you'll see a real movement towards simplifying life, because actually we're busier than we've ever been. We've got more stuff that's being thrown at us, more information, more ads, more everything. All this sort of stuff is just bombarding us. So strip that back. And that's what I mean, disrupting your life. Forget about everyone else in the industry. Disrupt your life and find out what's really important. So for me, I've been through this exercise, I found out that what happened, I was taking life too seriously. Yeah. Now I had fun, and I'm drinking with mates and partyings and all that sort of stuff. I had all that social life. But what I realized, what really made me happy was effectively 3 things. Okay, 3 things. And so what I've done is I've then stripped back my life to those 3 things. And one of those things was fitness, some form of physical activity every day that gets my mind off work and everything else. Okay. And so, so that was the first one. So that's one of my elements that I do. The second one was that I love work and what I do. Yeah, I love work and what I do. So, I've got no problem doing that. And so that was one of my focuses. And then obviously family and friends, all right, was the third one. And really, they're 3 elements that I go, actually, if it's not in that, and when I say, I drive down a bit more detail into the work and that sort of stuff, because I'm a bit different than most people, where I don't believe in this 9 to 5. I don't believe in this 5 days, 2 days off thing. It doesn't work for me. It really doesn't work for me. If I've got something on my mind, a project or whatever, I will throw myself into that project. But once it's done, then I'll take a week off. And since I've really started to embrace that and do it, actually, I find the level of stress, and most people say I've got a stressful life, but it's not stressful. I've just got an active life for me. But once I got into this habit, it's amazing how when you disrupt your lifestyle, actually you realize that, for instance, and this is what this will produce, and this is where it comes back to the financial side, where I'll link this into disruption. Those 3 things don't cost a lot of money, because actually, okay, so karate is one of them that we do, and I do that as it's a family activity, so I've combined the 2, all right, so that's great. I ride my bike and I run, At the end of the day, they don't cost a lot of money. I mean, my bike's probably 15 years old, but it's still bloody good, So at the end of the day, I don't need a new bike. Yeah, I need tires every now and again. But what I found was I was spending money on new clothes and all this sort of stuff, whereas I've got cupboards of clothes. Well, I haven't bought clothes now for probably 3 years. Why? Because I just don't need to. And for me, it's excess. And when you realize this stuff you think you need, you don't. You actually want it, not need it. When you strip that back, that can have a really cool effect on your financial situation. So what I would recommend is that you actually focus on disrupting your life. So first one is get a portfolio review. Second one is, sort out your debts, pay down your debts, focused payments on your debts. And the third one is disrupt your life and ask the real hard questions about what is the life that you want for you and your family. And when you do that, I think you're going to see some amazing changes. All right, guys, that's it. 3 top things getting ready for the recession. I think if you do those things, you'll find amazingly. I mean, actually, one more story I thought, which was quite interesting. My brother I did this with my brother, this process, and what I found was my brother was spending, and I don't remember the exact number, but basically he was spending, it was about $12 or $16 a day on iced coffee milk, iced milk, iced coffee, and basically if you add that up, he was sort of, when you're complaining about not having money at this stage, this is 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and not having money. And when we did this opened up, whatever it was, $300, $400, $500 a month, every month that he was spending. And he couldn't work out where, he thought he wasn't spending any money, but he was just spending it on that, because every time he called into the petrol station, he'd grab a nice coffee. Every time, he'd buy two, because he'd have one for now, one for later. And it was amazing how that adds up. And it's all those little things that make a big difference, and really, they don't add a lot to your life, yeah? So focus on what adds a lot to your life. But yeah, so disrupt your life, pay down your debt, and obviously do a portfolio review. If you want to do a portfolio review with your property and all that sort of stuff, then speak to the team and they can run through our simple review with you, which will get you real certainty about where you are and where you want to get to. All right, guys, have a great day. Live with passion. See ya.